This episode is brought to you by Simple Funding LLC. For all of your pre-settlement funding needs, contact Simple Funding LLC to receive your money promptly. They're a customer-centric legal funding company that provides exceptional funding solutions at affordable rates. Simple Funding covers a diverse range of cases, including car accidents, slip and falls, worker compensation, medical malpractice, wrongful death, and more. They recognize that life goes on and you need to access your funds immediately, which is why they offer clients a swift and efficient process with minimal documentation requirements. For more information, visit simplefundingllc.com or contact them directly at 678-855-6232. Enjoy the show. And welcome back to True Stories from a Real Private Eye. I'm your host, Vinnie Coppola. With me, as always, is Lynn Lambdin, a real private investigator from Atlanta, Georgia, and he's got another banger for us today. We are so glad you are here for this one. What do you got for us, Lynn?
Well, Vinnie, how are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing good, buddy. Had a good day.
Yeah, well, me too, Vinnie. I've been going back and forth about which way to go, and I thought I would tell you one that's kind of off the wall. This really has nothing to do with being a PI. Well, it does. It has something to do with the PI, but it takes a weird twist.
Okay.
And the feds tried to take me out.
Oh, boy. Again?
well, this was kind of took a strange twist, and I was just trying to be a good guy.
Yeah.
I got up one morning, and I had a job to do, and I lived over.
Was it part of the private investigating game?
It was. It was. I had a job to do.
Yeah.
And just like every day, I got up and I have my cameras with me. I always had a still camera. You know, at the time it was a 35 millimeter.
Right.
And
there were no iPhones. There were no smartphones.
This was in '96, I think it was.
Okay.
What year was the Olympics in Atlanta? It's 1996, right?
1996. Yeah.
This was in '96.
Okay.
So I had all my camera equipment with me, still camera, always had it with me. And I get up one morning to go do a job, and I get in my car, and I lived on Roswell Road in Sandy Springs, very important.
Okay.
And I'm driving down Roswell Road, and I thought, well, I'm going to get me some breakfast. As a young man, I didn't eat at home. Yeah. So I pull in Burger King, and I'm sitting there at the drive-thru, and the clerk hands me out my bag of food, and I hear this explosion, and it rocked the car. I mean, my car shook, and I look up, and I see this big plume of smoke, and the Sandy Springs abortion clinic had just been bombed.
Holy cow!
And it's less than 200 yards away from where I'm at.
Right.
I'm right in the middle of this.
Right. How did you know that it was the Sandy Springs?
I didn't.
Oh, at that moment you didn't. Right.
I didn't. I had no idea. I just seen a big plume of smoke.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm a private investigator. I got a camera in my car.
Yeah.
And I probably got 30 rolls of film.
Yeah.
I at the time, Rite Aid, the drugstore, Rite Aid was going out of business.
Yeah.
So I went around to all the Rite Aid stores and I bought all of their 35 millimeter 400 shutter speed film out.
Right.
So I bought like 200 rolls of film because they had put it on sale for like $1 a roll.
Oh boy. Yeah. So
I bought it out.
Yeah.
Because we hadn't heard of digital cameras at the time.
Right.
I had no idea digital cameras were going to take over the world.
Right.
So
you still have some of that film?
No, I don't, because I was taking pictures. I was using 2, 3, 4 rolls a day in my job.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, good.
So so when I seen this big plume of smoke, I took my sausage biscuit and my tea and I just put it to the side and I just started taking pictures. And I get right in the middle of this. I mean, I'm taking pictures as I'm approaching, and I get there before the police do.
So you're headed towards this plume of smoke, taking pictures
of everything.
Yeah.
I'm taking pictures of all of the surroundings, everything, not just the the bombing itself, I didn't know it was a bombing, but not of the explosion itself, but of the cars, the streets, and everything. I'm taking pictures of the fire trucks pulling up, the police pulling up, of everything, because like I said, I'm within 2 football fields of this going off, because the Burger King that I went to was on the opposite side of the road, less than 200 yards from where this bomb went off. So I'm taking pictures of everything, and then so I've got like 8, 9, 10 rolls of film, and so as I'm coming down the street, so the Roswell Road, and then there's a little side street, and the abortion clinic is just like 10 yards on this side street up on a hill. Is where the abortion clinic was. So, man, I'm just taking pictures, and I'm there before the fire trucks get there, because I'm right there when it goes off.
Right.
And I'm taking pictures of everything. So I take pictures as I go through. I turn around. I take pictures looking back. I got pictures of everything. I got 8 or 10 rolls of pictures. Didn't think much about it. I go do my job. I'm listening to the radio, and they say it's and I can't remember if it was before the bombing at the Olympic Park or after, but it was just in a few days, like a day or two of.
Okay.
They had no suspects. They knew nothing. They had no clue of anything. So I'm listening to the news on the radio, because, I'm interested in what's going on. And they say it's an intentional bombing. It was set up. They had all these nails and stuff, and it was a pipe bomb and all this. And now I'm kind of thinking, well, damn, I've got all these pictures.
Did anybody get hurt?
I think a doctor got killed, maybe.
Okay.
I can't remember, Vinny.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why I can't remember later on. You'll figure out why I can't remember.
Okay.
So I go. I'm sorry. I need to introduce her. She's always in my lap. This is Santana, and she's always in my lap. Yeah. And she always tries to get on the camera.
Yeah. Hey, Santana. Hey again.
So so I go home that evening, and I'm telling my wife. She wasn't my wife at the time, but she was my girlfriend. But we're now married, been married 25, almost 26 years now. But I go home, and I'm telling her that I got all these pictures. I think she was actually with me that morning, because I think we were just going to take pictures of accident scene. We was doing accident scene investigation, and she was going with me to help me measuring and all that stuff. So I think she was actually with me that morning.
Okay.
So we go home that afternoon, and we're watching the news. And it says, FBI hotline, if you have any tips or pictures, please call the FBI hotline.
Yeah.
So I told Chrissy, I said, I'm going to go get these pictures developed, and I'm going to call that hotline.
Yeah.
I said, so the next time you see it come up, just write the number down. So I go get the pictures developed the next morning, and I call the hotline, and they said, well, we'll have somebody call you back. Well, the FBI calls me back, and they said, well, we'd like to come and pick up your pictures. I said, how about I just drop them in the mail to you? I'm kind of busy. They said, no, we'd like to come pick them up. I didn't think anything about it.
Right.
And I said, well, when can I said, well, I'll just meet you. When they said, no, we want to come pick them up. I said, okay. I said, how about tomorrow morning? I said, I got to run out. And I said, I'll just meet you as I'm going out the door. They said, no, we want to talk to you. How about we come to your house this afternoon? I said, no, I'm busy. And I said, I'll tell you what. I said, I got a German Shepherd puppy. And I said, she's crazy. And I said, she's not going to let us talk here at my house. I said, how about I meet you at the library just half a mile up the road? And I said, it's the Sandy Springs Library. They said, okay. Mistake number one. Actually, mistake number two. Mistake number one was calling the FBI hotline.
Oh, right. Yeah. All right.
So I go up is about 1:00. I had to meet them that day. They wouldn't wait till tomorrow.
They were insistent.
Oh yeah, they were very insistent.
Yeah,
it was either meet them or they were going to come get me.
Right, right.
So I canceled everything and I go up there and I meet them. Well, I go to the library and I get out of my car. Now this was the day after I had them developed.
Right.
So I took the pictures. I went the next day and I got them developed. And then the next day, the third day, I called them that morning. They called me back immediately and they said, we're going to come get them. I said, okay. So I go to the library to meet them. And I'm thinking when I pull in there, and I asked them, I said, how will I recognize you when I get there? I asked them on the phone. They said, well, you'll recognize me.
Yeah.
And so when I get there, two men in black suits, each side of my car. And I'm thinking, oh, shit. That was the first thing that went through my mind.
Yeah. Did they know what kind of car you were driving?
No, they didn't ask me anything.
So you pull up and these two guys just surround your car?
Yes.
Wow.
Yep. Yeah. And they called me by name.
They call you by name?
They said, Mr. Lambdin?
Yeah.
I said, yeah.
Yeah.
And they introduced themselves. One was FBI and one was ATF.
Okay.
And I said, they said, you bring the pictures? I said, yeah. I got them. And I had a stack of pictures, it was like 10 rolls and 35 millimeters, and it was like 24 exposures on each.
Yeah.
And so the guy who identified himself as FBI starts asking me questions, and the ATF guy starts going through the pictures. And I've got pictures of, everything.
Yeah.
And so he goes through them, then he hands them to the other guy, and this guy starts asking me questions. They start saying, why were you in the area?
Yeah.
Because I live right here on Roswell Road.
Yeah.
I lived at the time, it was called Plantation Creek Apartments. And I said I was going to get on 285 going to East Point, which means I have to go down Roswell Road, past the Burger King where I stopped and got breakfast. The Sandy Springs Abortion Clinic is right there on the left. 285 is right there. I get on it going west, and I go to 75, and I go where I'm going. Mm-hmm. All makes sense.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah.
Not to them.
Right.
So they go through these pictures, and then they start picking out certain pictures. We've been there about an hour, and they've asked me, where am I from, my education level, why did I take pictures? Why do I have a camera in my car? And I've got answers for these.
Yeah. Yeah.
I graduated high school. I've got some college. I went to school to be a PI. I've got my degree. I've got my apprenticeship. I've got my PI license. I carry a camera because I'm a private investigator. I got a job. Here's my work order from the attorney's office. Here's where I was going. Here's the intersection. Here's the police report. This is the intersection that we were going to measure and take pictures and everything. And none of that mattered. Went over their head like, you would have thought that I was just standing there talking to myself.
Right.
And so they picked out the pictures they wanted, and we wasn't allowed to go in the library. We had to stay outside. They would not let. They locked me in between them, and I said, "Well, can we go and sit down?" Nope, we're going to talk right outside here.
1:00 in the afternoon. Was it summertime?
No, it was like April.
So it wasn't that hot out. Okay.
No, it wasn't that hot out.
Yeah.
And I was sweating.
Yeah.
I had balls of sweat as big as quarters coming off of me.
Yeah.
And that made it even worse. Me sweating made them think I was even more guilty.
Right. Of course. Yeah.
And but here I am, 25, 26 years old, and in my mind, I think I'm going to jail because they think that I just done this bombing. And then they start with this. Why are you taking pictures of your work? My work.
Yeah. Yeah.
You like taking pictures when you do things like that? What are you talking about?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And in this picture, come to find out later, Eric Robert Rudolph's truck was here in this pictures.
Who's that?
That's the guy who done the bombing.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So I had pictures of his truck, the back of his truck, the side of his truck, the front of his truck, because I took pictures going down the street, both sides of the street, turn around and took them going back that way. And his truck was sitting right there.
Yeah.
And he could have been in the pictures. I don't even know.
Right.
His truck was there.
He left his truck at the scene?
He was obviously still at the scene because he drove his truck away from the scene and went back to North Carolina.
Yeah.
To the Nantahala National Forest. After
you had taken all those pictures.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so these FBI and ATF agent, more the ATF agent than the FBI agent. But they're taking pictures. I mean, they're taking these pictures and they're saying people who do this take these type of pictures. And I said, what in the hell are you talking about? These type of pictures. And one of them was when I was driving down the street, I took pictures of the abortion clinic up on the hill, and you could see all the people scattering.
Yeah.
And because they thought another bomb was going to go off.
Right.
And I said, what are you talking about? This type of picture.
Yeah.
I said, if you'll go look in my car, the bag from Burger King is still in my car.
Yeah.
With the receipt still in it.
Yeah.
I said, I don't know. I said, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And Vinnie, I'm telling you, man, we were there for 7 hours.
Oh my God.
For 7 hours. About 4 hours into it, I asked them, I said, "You taking me to jail, aren't you?"
Yeah.
And they said, "No." I said, "Well, you've already accused me of doing this."
Yeah.
I said, you've pointed out the pictures and told me that this is what people who bomb like to do. They like to take pictures. Right. I said, here's what you've taught me.
Yeah.
I said, you've taught me to never do this again. They said, what? They said, what? Take pictures of your work? I said, no, not to call you assholes. They said, are you becoming a combatant?
Yeah.
I said, yeah.
Yeah.
I said, I was trying to be a nice guy.
Yeah.
I said, I was trying to do the right thing.
Yeah.
I said, I'll sit down on my couch with my German Shepherd puppy, and we were going to share a hamburger from Steak and Shake.
Yeah.
And I seen a news report that said, call this if you happen to have any evidence.
Yeah.
Or any information.
Yeah.
And I said, I called because of the people who were injured.
Yeah.
And I said, now you're accusing me of being a suspect.
Yeah.
And I said, we've already been here 4 or 5 hours. And I said, my shirt's wet with sweat because I think I'm going to jail.
Yeah.
And they said, don't worry about it, buddy. We're not accusing you of anything. I said, you're lying.
Yeah.
I said, you've accused me already.
Yeah.
And we're still there another 3 hours. And Vinnie, I'm telling you, they interrogated me. You wouldn't believe. They said, why are we meeting at the library instead of your house? Can I not go to your house? I said, let's go to my house right now.
Yeah.
I said, can I call my wife?
Yeah.
And tell her to bring the German Shepherd up here just to show you since you won't go to my house?
Yeah.
They said, we're going to go to your house.
Yeah.
They said, we just got to get the right paperwork.
Yeah.
What do you mean the right paperwork? You don't need paperwork. I'll take you to my house.
Right. Yeah.
I live in an apartment 3 minutes away.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I'll take you to my house.
We got here at 1:00. It's now 6:30.
Yeah.
There's no traffic.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And in all honesty, the reason I didn't want to meet him at my house is because my German Shepherd was like a year old and she was crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, she was a wonderful dog. I love her to death. I would have died for the dog, but she was crazy. Yeah. She would not have let us talk. She would have just tore. Those guys would have left with German Shepherd hair all over them and probably their $1,000 suits torn.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, they might have left earlier though. You know, they wouldn't have interrogated you for so long.
Well,
Right.
from now on,
With the dog jumping on them and stuff.
the dog will jump on them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Or bite them or whatever. I don't care.
Yeah. So here's what's intriguing to me. This is what's intriguing to me. So you called the FBI hotline and you said, "Hey, I got pictures," and they said, "Okay, someone's going to call you right back." And in the time it took for them to call you back, they did a background check on you. They looked up your phone number, they looked up your name, what kind of car you drive. That's how they knew when you pulled up. You know,
Yep.
that's intriguing as hell to me.
It took about 15 minutes to call me back.
It took about 15 minutes to do a thorough background check on you, find out who this is, blah, blah, blah. They knew everything about you, man. That's crazy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And when I pulled in, one walked up to one side of the car and one walked up to the other.
Yeah.
And I was a licensed gun carrier. I mean, I had my carry permit, but I didn't have my gun with me.
Right.
Why would I take my gun to go meet an FBI agent?
Boom. Smart move.
I'm going to meet an FBI agent. If he can't protect me, I'm screwed.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I don't need a gun when I'm going to meet an FBI agent.
Yeah.
And I was, I was going out of the goodness to be a good citizen.
Right.
Why do I need a weapon?
Right.
I didn't even think about a weapon. I didn't even.
Yeah.
It never even crossed my mind, Vinnie.
Yeah.
But when I get to the library, I park and I'm not even thinking that they're going to meet me in the, so when I get there, I put my car in park and I reach over and I'm getting my pictures. And when I went to open my door, I went, wow.
Yeah. There's two guys here.
You know, because I'm looking down and I'm looking down in my seat, you know, I pull in, I'm listening to music and, you know, I'm kind of into, and I just, you know, I put my car in park and I'm gathering my pictures up because it's like you know how they put each roll of film in a different envelope.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of gathering them up and everything. And then I opened my door and I look up and there's one standing here and I looked over here and there's one standing here and I'm like, wow, what the hell?
Yeah.
You know, and then the one grabs my door. I was in a Jeep Wrangler, had a Jeep Wrangler at the time. He grabs my door and opens my door and he said, "Mr. Lambdin?"
Yeah.
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 And
I guess you're the FBI.
Yeah. Well, when I seen his black suit, I knew who he was.
Yeah.
But it took me a minute to say something because I knew that I had to be cautious because they knew my name, they knew what I was driving, and they met me at my car door.
Yeah.
They don't do that unless they have a reason to.
Oh, of course.
And their reason is they had profiled me as being the bomber.
Right.
And I was the prime suspect in that Sandy Springs bombing until they identified not Eric Robert Rudolph, but the other one. The guy that the security guard that they accused. Remember, they accused that security guard.
Yeah, they made a movie about him.
Yeah. And until they identified him, then I never heard from him again.
Right.
But for a couple days, for about 24 hours, I was afraid to close my eyes.
Yeah.
I mean, you have no idea.
Yeah.
I mean, when you think that you're getting ready to lose your freedom, I mean, it gets pretty serious when you got an FBI agent and an ATF agent and you don't know how to prove that. How do you prove a negative, Vinnie?
Right.
How do I prove that I didn't do that?
Right.
I was there.
And they wanted to believe it was you. Yes. They wanted to. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So you're up against that too.
And how do I prove against something as powerful as the FBI All they got to do is go in front of a jury and say, look, he took pictures of his work.
Yeah.
He was there.
Yeah. If they wanted to, absolutely. Yeah.
How do I say that I wasn't there?
Right.
I was there.
Right.
All I can say is I was there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, what do? Bring in the other 10,000 rolls of film that I've taken and say, look, I do this every day.
Yeah.
I mean, does a jury believe me or does the jury believe them?
Yeah.
Does the jury believe a 26, 27-year-old investigator?
Yeah.
Or does the jury believe a 45, 50-year-old FBI and a 45, 50-year-old ATF agent who's been doing this forever?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, I didn't have the money to buy an attorney of that caliber.
Yeah.
And they've got all the money in the world. Matter of fact, they got my tax dollar.
When you told them, look, I was just getting breakfast. I heard the explosion. I saw the plume. I just drove over to see what was happening. What was their response to that?
Well, the first time I told them, as they were going through the pictures, they would just kind of go, yeah, mm-hmm, yeah. They were just taking notes. It was just like, okay, yeah, what next? Mm-hmm, yeah, what next? Mm-hmm, yeah, and then after they went through the pictures, and then the second time we went through the story, it was like, oh yeah, well, why did you take a picture of this? Why'd you take a picture of this? You know that people who do this, who do these kind of bombings, they like to take pictures of their work. Do you always take pictures of your work?
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I take pictures at work all the time.
Yeah.
That's where I was going to take pictures at my work.
Yeah.
No, I don't take pictures of my work.
Yeah.
I take pictures at work. That's why I have a damn camera in my car.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I carried a briefcase, a leather briefcase. And I probably had 30, 40 rolls of film in it.
Yeah.
At any given time. And I used to use Target over here on 92. And I would go over there and take 10, 12, 15, 18, 20 rolls of film at a time.
Really?
And get them developed.
Yeah.
And at the time, you could get a roll of film developed for like $3, $4.
Right.
And they would give me a 10% discount just across the board because I bring so many rolls of film.
Oh, nice.
And you could have went over there at any time. And I told him, I said, why don't you go over there? No, I'm sorry. I wasn't using Target at the time. I was using a place over on Roswell Road where Northridge and Roswell Road intersected. They had a little camera place in there. And I was using them. And it's the same thing. I was getting 8, 10, 12, 15, 20, 25 rolls a week developed there because I was taking pictures of wrecked cars. I was taking pictures of cheating spouses. I was taking pictures of accident scenes where that, where cars, go take pictures of this intersection. Show me how this intersection looked. Go take pictures of this. Go take pictures of these cheating spouses, whatever the situation was. So I was getting, sometimes I think the most that I ever got take to get developed was 30 rolls at a time, 30 rolls in 1 week.
Right.
But my average was anywhere from 12 to 18 rolls a week. And I told him, I said, here's where I go get my pictures developed. Go talk to these people. They'll tell you that I bring these over there every week. Yeah. And I had a Pentex camera, one of the best cameras I ever had. Yeah. And the FBI agent and the ATF agent was going, yep. But the people who do this, who like to take pictures of their work, have cameras too. Come on, guys.
Okay.
I mean, look. I said, my car's right there. I said, I have a black briefcase in it, a leather briefcase with 2 leather handles on it. I said, just go over there and open it up. And I said, you'll find manila folders in there. And I said, pull out 3 or 4 of them. And I said, each one of them will have a job in it. And I said, on the tab, there will be written a name. I said, open it up. I said, you're either going to find a police report. I said, you're going to find a fax. And back then it was a fax on that, it was the roll fax.
Oh, yeah.
I said, you're going to find a fax coming from a law office with a job on it with instructions. I said, you're going to see that this is what I do for a living.
Yeah.
And they said, well, that don't prove anything. I said, it's going to prove to you that I'm telling you the truth. I said, in that same briefcase, you're going to find the job that put me on that path to go past that location. And they're saying, yeah, maybe. But what
Yeah, their story is you're a private investigator by day and abortion clinic bomber by night. That's their story.
Activist. Yeah, I'm an activist.
And you're an activist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think that they knew at the time that the truck that was in it was Eric Robert Rudolph's, but
while they were talking to you, they didn't know that.
They didn't know it.
Yeah.
But later,
do you think your pictures helped because they saw your picture, they saw the truck? Well, let's see what this guy's truck is doing. Blah blah blah.
What I do believe though is that once that they found out that Eric Robert Rudolph done the Olympic Park bombing, and they identified his truck, I think that my pictures linked him to the Sandy Springs bombing.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I do believe that linked them together.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, which probably is what got me off the hook.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, Vinnie, and it didn't help that I was so nervous. I chewed my fingers sitting there talking to these guys till I picked my fingers and my fingers were bleeding. Every one of my fingers were bleeding.
Yeah.
But I mean, you think about being my age at the time.
Yeah.
And I never had any experience like this. I mean, I've been to court and been in front of judges and I testified in, a handful of cases.
Yeah.
But nothing like I have now. I mean, I've testified hundreds of times now. Now it wouldn't bother me. I mean, if they approach me now, I'd just tell them to kiss my ass and walk away.
Yeah.
I'd say, go get you a warrant and arrest me.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be a nice guy, and this is the shit you want to pull? Arrest me. That's what I tell them now.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put up with it.
Right.
Back then, I didn't know that I could walk away.
Right.
Now I know that I can walk away.
Yeah.
So, but back then they scared me to death.
Yeah, I bet.
I'm telling you, by the time we got done, my shirt was wet to halfway down.
Right.
And I was sweating. And it wasn't that hot of a day.
Yeah.
And I was sweating so bad. And I was just picking my fingers and chewing my fingers. Why are you so nervous? Why am I nervous? Because I got you two assholes here accusing me of something I didn't do.
Yeah.
I was trying to be. I told both of them. I said, look, I was taught to do the right thing.
Yeah.
I grew up in a good family, a very good family who taught me to do the right thing. And turning these pictures over to you is the right thing. And you're accusing me.
Yeah.
Do you not expect me to be nervous?
Yeah.
And they're saying, well, if you've done something wrong, I expect you to be nervous. And everything they said to me was in a negative tone. Nothing, I'd be nervous if I'd done something wrong. But that's
what I would have asked them? I said, do you often catch people that do the crime by through this phone number? I mean, they rat themselves out. Is that how you oftentimes catch people? If you have any evidence or clues, please call this number. Yeah, I got some evidence and clues. Here's some bloody gloves.
I didn't think about it, but
with my fingerprints in them. I mean, is that how they oftentimes catch people? What the hell are they thinking?
Yeah, I didn't think about that, but that's a good one.
Yeah.
But that was a good point.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I just bombed the clinic. You want to take my pictures?
And I got some pictures. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. It makes no sense.
You want some video too?
But at the time after it happened, and I sat down and thought about it weeks, months, years later.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand that the people, I guess the people who do these type of things, they want the glory, the thrill, the credit for doing it.
Yeah.
But I don't want the jail time. So
yeah.
And I don't want to hurt an innocent person.
Right.
So and I had the pleasure of sitting down with Alveda King, Martin Luther King's niece.
Mm-hmm.
And she is a very big abortion. She's against abortion. And she told me that she goes, I'm not going to tell you not to have an abortion. She said, I'm going to show you why you shouldn't have an abortion and show you what abortion does to you mentally and show you what it does to you physically and show you what you're doing to a life and let you make the right decision.
Yeah.
See, I think that's the right way to go.
Oh, heck yeah.
I think that Alveda King makes an extremely good point.
Absolutely.
So I'm not going to go to an abortion clinic and kill an innocent life to save an innocent life.
Right.
It makes
right,
no
right.
sense.
No.
Just because somebody's having an abortion doesn't mean that they're guilty of something. Doesn't mean that their life is any more less important than the one that they're taking.
Yeah.
So why would I go bomb an abortion clinic?
Right.
But these idiots, they were so they had to get somebody, whether it was right or wrong.
Yeah. They wanted to be the ones that broke the case so bad.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So how did it leave off? How did you eventually say, how did they eventually go, all right, you can go? What was the question and answer that made him finally go, all right, you can go?
Well, the question was, I said, look, guys, I said, we've been here about 7 hours now. I said, am I under arrest? And they said no. But I asked them several times. I said, do I need to call an attorney?
Yeah.
And earlier in the day, I said, do I need to call an attorney? And they said, no, you're not under arrest. And then my question went to, can I call an attorney? And they said no. And then I said, look, we've been here about 6.5, 7 hours. I said, I'm going to call an attorney. I said, am I under arrest? Because I'm going to call an attorney. And they said, no, you're not under arrest. I said, well, if I'm not under arrest, I'm calling an attorney or I'm leaving. They said, oh, you can leave. You could have left any time.
Oh, jeez.
Well, I got in my car and left. I ran. I never gave them a question. I never even looked back.
Yeah. Yeah.
When they said, oh, you're not under arrest. I said, well, I'm either leaving or calling an attorney. They said, oh, you could have left any time. I ran.
Yeah. Yeah.
I never looked back.
Yeah.
I never,
And they didn't ever contact you again or anything like that.
Never contacted me again.
Holy cow.
Yep. Never heard from
So
them again.
probably within, I would say 24 hours, they cleared your name and they connected this Rudolph guy.
Yep.
So my guess is you didn't know at the beginning of this, or you couldn't remember if the Olympic bombing came first. I bet you it came first.
I can't.
Of course, that's something that we can easily look up on online. Yeah. Well, you know what? We'll put a news article about this in the description so people can read more about it.
I can't remember, but it happened within just a few days of each other.
Yeah.
It was like 24, 48 hours of each other, I think.
Yeah.
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 Without any research, I'm gonna bet that the Olympic bombing came first.
I think the Sandy Springs bombing came first.
You think the abortion clinic bombing came first?
Yep.
Okay.
I think. I'm not sure.
All right. We just did a quick search and we found out that they were not within days of each other. So.
No, we found out, okay, the abortion clinic bombing happened on January 16th, 1997.
Right.
And the Olympic Park bombing happened on July the 27th of 1996.
But it was the same guy, though.
It was the same guy. Eric Robert Rudolph did both.
Eric Robert Rudolph.
Yep.
So I was right, though, at least in that the Olympic Park bombing came first.
Yeah. About 5 months. Yeah.
So the truck connected him, and basically that's the thing that put him away.
I have no idea. They never told me anything, but I'll tell you that
that's a very good guess, though.
They scared me to death. I'm telling you that.
Yeah.
But you know what's amazing is I can't remember the name of the guy, but that security guard that saved everybody and the backpack they found under the bench at the Olympic Park bombing, and he rushed everybody away from it, and they accused him of the bombing, and it actually caused him so much stress he had a heart attack and died at an early age. Yeah. And all the media companies had to pay him millions of dollars but he never could leave his house after that because, he was still known as the Olympic Park Bomber, which he wasn't.
Right.
I can't remember his name, but the poor guy, they chased him. I guess the FBI was chasing him and trying to blame him instead of going after the real guy.
Yeah.
I'm so glad they didn't do me like they did him.
Yeah.
Because, but I'm telling you, I thought for sure that I was going down that road, Vinny. I'm telling you.
Buddy.
And Vinny, when we come on here and we tell these stories, I don't do any research. I do what I tell you what I tell you from memory.
Absolutely.
And so sometimes I get the dates wrong. I get the things wrong, just like I did with the Olympic Park bombing and this.
That's all right.
But I think that trying to tell you from memory is better than doing the research, because when you do research, you create artificial memories. And
no. Also, it's more conversational, and it's a lot more real, man. Who wants to see you reciting a script or reading a speech? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's better this way.
Yeah, I don't. The stories that I tell you are from memory and not from research. I don't go back. I don't look at any notes. Matter of fact, I have destroyed, before we started this podcast. I moved here just locally in Roswell, bought a new house here in Roswell, and I destroyed. I destroyed most of my files that I had because I didn't want to move them. I had boxes of destroyed them. Thousands of files that I had on all this stuff. So I couldn't even go back and look them up if I wanted to. Because back then, from the 90s all the way up and through the 2000s, you didn't have the ability to scan everything in like you do now.
Right.
Now it's easy. It's on a computer. Now for the last 10 years, I upgraded my computer 2 years ago. So I took my hard drive out of my old one. I put it in my new one as a backup hard drive. Now, if I need something from 10 years ago, I just go look at my old hard drive and pull it up. Back in the 90s, I couldn't do that.
No, you just have boxes and boxes and boxes of stuff.
Yeah. And my wife said, those papers draw bugs, get them out of here.
Right.
So when we moved, she wouldn't let me bring them with me. So I had to put them in the old paper grinder and get rid of them.
That's it.
Yeah. So I got rid of thousands and thousands and thousands of files, which I'm glad I did, because you hate carrying that stuff around, and
sure,
and I had a lot of private information on people, and it just wasn't worth carrying around. Wasn't worth keeping. So,
of course,
but everything I talk about is from memory, and I'd rather keep it that way. It's
absolutely
it's more authentic.
Heck yeah, 100%. Yeah, this was another good one, Lynn. This was a good one.
And when you go back and you do it from memory instead of reading it, it's just, I'd rather not. I don't, when I live it, like I did that Sandy Springs bombing, and then go through what I went through with the FBI, I don't want to go back and read it.
Yeah.
I lived it. I don't want to go back and read it.
For sure.
I was there. I took the pictures. I seen the bodies. I just don't, I don't want to go back and live that. I'd rather spend my time reading something that I enjoy.
Absolutely. Yeah.
This
was a good one, man. I had a lot of fun, buddy. Thank you guys so much for being here and listening. Hey, if you haven't yet, please subscribe to the podcast. That really helps us out and helps our visibility. And also, if you're feeling saucy, leave a comment or a review. Just tell us what you think about the podcast. That will definitely help our visibility. I'm Vinnie Coppola. If you like, stand-up comedy and you like goofball videos, please check me out. You can go to my website. All my links to my social media are there. It's vinnie.com, www.vinnie.com, vinnie.com. If you need someone found, if you need to serve someone papers, if you need a private investigator, you have to get in touch with Lynn Lambdin. He's one of the best. Tell him your website, Lynn.
Yeah, if you need like a long lost friend found, or college friend or something, don't care what state you're in, we can find them for you. We don't have to be in your state. It's LWI Attorney services, or you can just go to lwias.com and you can find me there, and we'll be more than happy to locate anybody for you. Or if you need help in another state and we have to put boots on the ground, we'll find somebody in your state and put the boots on the ground.
Yeah, or somebody surveilled or something like that,
Yeah,
you know what he does.
Yeah, we can put boots on the ground in just about any state.
Yeah.
Few states we don't like to do work in, but we can work around that.
Yeah. And also thank you, Simple Funding, for sponsoring this episode. If you have any legal funding needs, please sure to contact them at simplefundingllc.com. This was great, Lynn. Looking forward to next week.